Ada. Another thing Ada got hit with, some pretty damaging hail. I want to show you that right now. Take a look. Here's some good-sized pieces of hail, and just for scale, got our handy-dandy pink golf ball there. For most of us, our pets are our best friends, loyal companions, fearless protectors. But in some cases across the nation, pets are being used in a more sinister way to help addicts score drugs. Yeah, guys, and with a beautiful day like we had today, who would be thinking about ice on the roadways? But it's that thought process officials say lulls drivers into that false sense of security, potentially leading to crashes. Here it is, all 600 plus pages of the county budget, and it took a lot of time, effort, and thinking to put this mammoth together.
News 13's Dan Snyder was in the courtroom and joins us now with more. Dan.
Yeah, Marie, very emotionally charged day as for the first time Angela's family got to say their piece in front of the judge. And as it stands, today may be the last day Anthony Heath spends outside of prison walls. Carbon County's got a new sheriff in town, that man, Tony Harvilla. Tony, official results in, you're the new sheriff. How you feel?
Coverage of severe weather continues. We're going to go now to Fox 25's Dan Snyder. He's been out covering these storms as well. He's live in Ada, near where a tornado warning was issued earlier on tonight. Dan, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Jen, and Ada really kind of took the brunt of today's severe weather here in Oklahoma. The National Weather Service confirming a tornado touchdown. We were in that area just east of Ada where that tornado touched down earlier today. We ran into the sheriff and some deputies. They were actually out responding to some damage reports. They said everything pretty minor so far, but they're still out looking. So if you do have damage, report that to the sheriff or to the fire department there in Ada. Another thing Ada got hit with, some pretty damaging hail. I want to show you that right now. Take a look. Here's some good-sized pieces of hail, and just for scale, got our handy-dandy pink golf ball there. Now, this hail, as Jordan showed you Colleen Wilson's photo, Colleen with me right now, this hail has melted significantly, but this is some pretty sizable hail that came down here just east of Ada. But, you know, all things considered, not too bad. Not too bad a shape. We did just have a storm come through, a small storm, just about 10 minutes ago, and there is still some lightning in the surrounding areas.
The opioid crisis continues to plague communities all across the country.
And now veterinarians say they are on the lookout for addicts trying to score in their clinics. Fox 25's Dan Snyder is digging into the details.
For most of us, our pets are our best friends, loyal companions, fearless protectors. But in some cases across the nation, pets are being used in a more sinister way to help addicts score drugs. The latest wrinkle in the opioid epidemic, reports of addicts abusing animals to take their pain medication for themselves. It has vets across the country on high alert. Dr. Chris Rispoli runs General Care Animal Hospital in Edmond and says he's well aware of the horror stories.
Addicts don't look at it that way. They're only worried about getting it for themselves. That's part of the sickness.
While these cases are rare, they do happen. In 2014, a Kentucky woman confessed to cutting her dog with a razor blade to get its pain meds. 2 years later, Oregon authorities seized 100,000 tramadol pills and arrested 4 people at a dog breeding operation. Doctors say tramadol appears to be the target of most addicts, and while he hasn't personally seen the cases of abuse, Dr. Rispoli has seen the drive to get tramadol firsthand.
I had some stolen from my clinic by a staff member. I had to let go.
But really, beating an animal to get a fix? Dr. John Grizzle isn't surprised by the reports and says desperation can be an extreme motivator.
I've seen people be denied narcotic medicines to the emergency room and go out and open up the trunk of the car and put their arm in the trunk of the car and slam it down on themselves, and then go to another emergency room.
Now that vets are aware of the problem, they're taking steps to make sure this sort of thing doesn't keep happening. That starts with simply feeling out the pet owner.
If somebody comes in and they're just, I really want tramadol, tramadol works good, and you know they're a new client, well that's the light that goes off in your head.
Dr. Rispoli says he'll always go for the non-narcotic drugs first. But there are also legal safeguards in place for when he does have to prescribe narcotics.
I have legally 5 minutes to get on the computer, onto the PMP site, and record it.
Federal agencies then use this information to make sure pet owners aren't drug shopping. But experts believe until there's some sort of life-changing event, addicts will continue to come up with schemes like this.
I think if people truly want to get their lives back, there's a lot of options out there, and all they got to do is take that first step and make that call.
2015? You mean we're in the future?
The future is now, at least in the eyes of Back to the Future fans who watched Marty McFly travel forward in time to this date. But the world he saw in the movie is a little different than what we're living now.
It's really interesting, actually, because they have some things that they got really right that we do have today. There are interesting things that they kind of got a little off. We don't have self-adjusting clothing, the Mr. Fusion car engine. We still have to use gasoline, unfortunately.
There's also times where our reality has passed the movie.
The fax machine and a phone booth. I've actually never used either of those technologies, but they were still very prevalent in 2015.
But there's some things the movie nailed, like video phone calling, which didn't turn out so well for future Marty.
Unfortunately, he got fired by his boss, if I can remember the scene correctly. It was still very interesting because it is something that they thought was very futuristic, and it's almost commonplace today.
Gruff says speech control capabilities and 3D technology are also getting close to the film's depiction. But one fan favorite could be here soon.
The hoverboard, which is a very infamous scene. Lexus has actually come out with something called the Slide that it comes pretty close.
Cars are also a big part of Back to the Future's 2015.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Actually, Doc, in 2015, we do need roads.
Unfortunately, our cars don't fly quite yet.
But the auto industry has made some major leaps since Marty's days in 1985.
The amount of technology that's in them now, I don't think even when they made Back to the Future, they could have predicted some of the things the cars are doing now.
Drivers can now unlock and start their vehicles from their phones. And while flying cars may still be a ways off, self-driving ones could be right around the corner.
Cars have what's called adaptive cruise control already. If the car in front of you is doing 35 miles an hour, you're going to do 35 miles an hour. If the car speeds up to 50 and you set it that way, the car can accelerate, they slow down, the car will slow down.
And of course, there's the big question of what Doc Brown packed in his own car, a time machine.
Theorists are saying you wouldn't be able to travel back in time previous to the invention of the time machine, which also does throw the entire plot of the movie off. I don't think we're quite there yet.
I have a bad feeling about this.
A short time ago in a log cabin not so far away, a man had an idea. An idea to incorporate his family into one of his favorite movies.
My whole childhood was Star Wars, Christmas, birthdays. That's all I wanted for presents, and they love it, and so it was nice. Yeah, it's great to have them acting in my movies.
Bill May decided that with the help of his 9-year-old daughter Hannah and 21-month-old daughter Miriam, he would enter the Star Wars fan film contest. But how would they separate themselves from a field of thousands?
Thought like a sitcom kind of idea would... I don't remember seeing that before, so I thought maybe that would be kind of unique.
Wait, Star Wars the sitcom? Growing up in the 80s, Star Wars and sitcoms were two of Bill's passions, and it didn't hurt that the star of the show was all for it.
I'm happy that it was like sort of cheesy and funny because like I think that when like something's like cheesy, I think of it as hilarious.
So the Mays got to work, and less than 12 parsecs later, Bad Feeling was finished. But for Hannah, the role may just be the first in a long career.
I've always like wanted to be an actress. That probably won't happen, but like I like being stars of things and stuff like that. So it was really fun for me.
Then they got the call. Bad Feeling was selected by Disney as a finalist in the fan film competition, where their movie would be judged by thousands of Star Wars fanatics across the globe.
I hadn't seen anything like ours before, so I thought maybe we had a good chance. And I thought with our daughters and their stellar performances that we'd stand an even better chance.
And even though they have a 1 in 24 chance of winning, Bill says never tell him the odds.
We don't know how many people are watching. From what I've seen and from what I've talked to my friends and stuff, it's very good feedback. Even if we don't win, just that thousands of people are seeing our video is reward enough for us.
You can vote on your favorite Star Wars fan film until the end of the month. However, I do believe this is the fan film you're looking for.